We are doing week 4, cycle 1, pollution. We are going to review the scientific method, and the props that I'm going to provide are the book The Lorax, white vinegar, rubbing alcohol, and pictures of people carrying water, and everything else will, and a half-gallon mason jar. So we're going to talk about, does anyone know what pollution is? Can you give me some examples of pollution? What is water good for? Did you know that you can go for weeks without water but survive or without food but only survive a few days without water and a few minutes without air? And then we're going to talk about the book The Lorax and talk pick a few pages that highlights the summary of that book and what happens to the Lorax and the animals once the pollution and the Onceler, what happens to them, and they have to get kicked out, and show the pictures of the contamination and the animals and their feathers that are, they don't have food and their feathers are all oily and those kinds of things. So the purpose of our experiment today is to determine how pollution happens and how do we get rid of it. The research is, we still need to find out, are there ways to decrease new pollutants, and can we wash away pollutions already in our environment, and really let kids brainstorm here. I think from the littles still have pretty simple ideas to, I think some older kids can have some great ideas on how to reduce pollutants or get rid of ones that are already existing. So for their hypothesis, for the older kids, have them write this in their science journal, what they think is going to happen when we add contaminants to clean water, and what will happen if we add more clean water to the already contaminated water. For the younger kids, they can use their science journals when we go into the experiment. So for our materials, we're going to need just some tap water. Have one of your parents fill up the half-gallon mason jar with a cup, 1 cup of water, and there will be a measuring cup in there for you. You will have a half cup of white vinegar and a 1/4 cup of rubbing alcohol. You will have food coloring and a stir stick or a spoon. So we're going to start with that 1 cup of water, clean water, in our glass, and then we're going to add the vinegar. Before we add the vinegar, ask your class, is this something that we want to drink? And this is something that they can taste. So either use a spoon or just have them stick a single finger in it, because you're not going to be drinking this water after. So they could just stick it in. Does it smell good? Does it taste good? Let them just do some experimenting on just the vinegar itself. We're going to put the vinegar in the water. Ask the class, can they see that vinegar? No, they can't, but is it water that they want to drink now that they've tasted that vinegar? Chances are going to be no. Next, we're going to add the rubbing alcohol. Ask the same questions as before. Does it smell good? We obviously are not going to taste this one, but it's clear, so we're going to add to the water. Can you see it? No. So is our water clean? No, it's not. And then next we're going to add 1 drop of food coloring to this. So this is going to be a contaminant that we're going to be able to see much easier. We're going to add that, and then we're going to swirl that around, and once that's added, then take your clean water and you're going to add 1 cup of water at a time until the jar is full or you can't see that red food coloring anymore, whichever one happens first. At this point, you can let children use their journals and kind of color in how much water was filled at the jar, and then also talk to the kids about the little bit of amount of water that they contaminated, and then that the whole jar is still contaminated. So even though they think that maybe their little piece isn't contamination, isn't a big deal, because it spreads out over a big bunch of clear water, actually it contaminated all of that clean water now. So 2 other experiments that you can do is, if you have clay or Play-Doh, just take 2 different colors of that and just start mixing it together and showing them that once that's mixed together, that is not able to separate. And that's the same idea as the clean water, air, or soil, and the contaminant, whatever that may be, and mix those together. The next one is have a parent dump out that jar of contaminated water that you've already filled up. use a coffee filter on the top of it, and then just put a little bit of dirt on top of that, and just put 1 cup of clean water over the dirt and let it filter through to the bottom, and you'll see that that water is not clean anymore. And that's just showing that when clean water goes through something, it's gonna stick onto that dirt. So our results, our analysis, ask them how many cups of water did it take. They can write this in their science journal as well. And can we see the food coloring or the white vinegar? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but would you want to drink this? No, absolutely not. So our conclusion is that even though you contaminated a little bit, you only think that it's affecting you, but really it's affecting so many more people. And then the air pollution affects the ozone, and we're all meant to be good stewards of the earth that we live on. And if we keep imagining better scenarios, we can keep creating better solutions.